back live with Andrew Bolt with the Bolt Report.
I think the few friends that Malcolm Turnbull still has left in the Liberal Party will be even fewer after tonight's documentary by David Spears and all the manoeuvrings last year when Malcolm Turnbull lost the leadership. Now, you can see that documentary, first of two parts, the next tomorrow, in about 17 minutes. So stay glued. Now, let me set this up before I play this grab from tonight's show. It's August last year. Turnbull is Prime Minister, Liberal leader, and Julie Bishop is Deputy Liberal leader. But the Liberals have had it with Turnbull. He's lost nearly every poll, or he has lost every poll for nearly 2 years, and he looks finished to left wing. Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton, Conservative, thinks I should perhaps challenge him. Turnbull gets wind of it, calls a snap ballot, hoping to embarrass him, catch him napping. But shock, only just wins. And then Turnbull panics, or so Dutton says tonight.
He offered me the deputy leader position.
He offered you the deputy leadership?
Correct. And I said to him that this was just, given what had just taken place, that wasn't credible. And it wasn't his to gift either.
Now, Turnbull camp denies all this. Never happened that he threw Julie Bishop under the bus and made a peace offering to the guy stalking him. Joining me is the panel, Liberal Senator James Paterson and Labor Senator Kimberley Kitching. James, you know this is going to come to you first. Who do you believe, Malcolm Turnbull or Peter Dutton?
Andrew, never let it be said that Sky News is somehow supportive of the coalition, because you're supposed to make documentaries like these about the losing side of an election, not the winning side. This is very unfair.
I think the idea at first was that it was going to be about the losing side. But events still
to the victor the spoils.
Yeah, that's right.
You're absolutely correct. But I think, like all these rasher books being written about the Liberal Party, like Nicky Savers and David Crozer, all Liberal haters. Fresh new titles of fresh new premises. What a joke.
And Malcolm, of course, is writing a book.
And Malcolm, that's being rewritten too.
Yes.
Well, it's funny. If you think you set out as a political analyst to write a book, right, about how terrible the Liberals are, and this explains the defeat, and it's a win, don't you think you give up the project altogether rather than rewrite it?
Well, I think it is a lesson that don't be too committed to your thesis until the events have actually taken place.
Anyway, who do you believe, Peter Dutton or Malcolm Turnbull?
I wasn't in the room, Andrew. I can't adjudicate that.
Malcolm Turnbull's out, Peter Dutton's in. I think you should say, I believe Peter Dutton.
Well,
my colleague,
Andrew,
the
historical record will show I voted for Peter Dutton twice that week, so that'll give you some kind of indication.
Who do you believe?
Well, funnily enough, I also wasn't in the room, but but I mean, I did see Luke Howarth out today on Sky saying Peter could have won. I mean, he does have a core group of supporters, and I think the serious question around this is, if Scott Morrison is able to exercise good judgment, he probably stays. If he isn't, I wonder if he can't exercise good judgment and make good decisions in this term, then I wonder if it's all on for young and old again.
You talking about?
Well, I think that Peter Dutton has a core group of supporters.
Oh, I think he's got a core group.
I mean, they were out today.
Are you trying to suggest that Peter Dutton's going to challenge Morrison?
No, well, I mean, I think it depends on whether Scott Morrison exercises good judgment.
Law of the jungle. And
remember,
every leader that doesn't perform has got to get out.
That's right. And I remember his division of the Liberal Party has a structural weakness in it, in that there's a group of them who were with David Clark who've now left. Now, he's a Conservative, Scott Morrison. He is backed by the very
causing trouble.
left-leaning...
He's in far more trouble than
the left-leaning part of the Liberal Party.
We'll worry when he gets closer.
I'll resist the temptation to do amateur factional analysis of the Labor Party if Kimberley agrees to try and do that on the Liberal Party as well.
What I found really interesting, because that particular quote went on for some time, Peter Dutton didn't need to say Malcolm Turnbull nearly threw supposedly his bestie lately, Julie Bishop. Both of them have been campaigning against you guys in the election, under a bus. He didn't need to say it, but he said it with such gusto. Why would he do that? Has he got a score to settle?
Oh, I don't think that's the case, Andrew. I think all of us who took part in those events, I include myself in this, have an obligation to history to tell the true story of what happened, because there's lots of questions about it, and Australians do have questions about that, understandably, and I think the historical record must be accurate, and it won't be accurate if players like Peter Dutton don't participate in it openly.
Well, that's a very diplomatic question, so I'm going to ask you, because you won't have any inhibitions about answering this. The fact is, Malcolm Turnbull did everything he could to get the Liberals to vote, well, to throw Peter Dutton to the wolves, to refer him to the High Court on some, he's not eligible to sit in Parliament. He seemed to bite at him quite often. During the election campaign, he wanted Peter Dutton to lose so badly you could taste it, Bishop too. He's settling some scores.
I think he is, and I think his book, I hear, is...
Malcolm Turnbull's book.
Malcolm Turnbull's book will be a very interesting read.
Because I think it'll continue that way.
Yes, I think it will. And I think his behaviour during the recent election campaign, and also I think, his son's, the suggested involvement of his son.
Alex Turnbull. Oh, no, not suggested. He admitted he was involved, for instance, in Julia Banks's campaign against the Liberals. It's just very squalid. To a more serious conflict, James, the United States blaming Iran for attacking oil tankers in the Middle East, several, 2 burning, as well as working on a nuclear weapons program, which is very dangerous. It's just imposed even tougher sanctions on Iran, as well as sending 1,000 more troops to do I don't know what in the Gulf about Iran. How close is this region to war, do you think?
I don't know, Andrew, but Iran has been one of the worst bad faith actors in the Middle East for a long time, and it seems that they're intent on reaping that on a global scale. I mean, we know that they treat their own people in a reprehensible, immoral way. We know that they're the greatest state sponsor of terror in the Middle East. We know that they want to wipe Israel off the map, and it now appears they're trying to destabilise the global trading system by undermining the free flow of oil out of the Middle East in a profoundly disturbing way. It is a real challenge for the free world.
What do you make of Donald Trump's style, right? He's reportedly he was ordering a military attack on Iran, then at last minute cancelled it. He's been threatening them with the end of Iran if they don't, give in. He said, John Bolton wants me to attack his national security advisor, but I'm sort of not there yet. I mean, this is just amazing stuff.
Well, I think we have to see what he is doing. I mean, I think obviously he is bad at Twitter diplomacy, and he shouldn't be on Twitter dealing with these issues. I don't think. I mean, it's not up to me to tell the American president what to do, but I think we have to see it through a domestic lens. So he's just launched his re-election campaign for 2020. He, of course, is trying to frame, I think, around overseas incidents. He's trying to make an enemy because there's a domestic issue at play here. And I think the other part of this is, of course, we also have to see the Ayatollah Khomeini's views also through a domestic prism, because remember that's a country where, a frequent catch cry is, death to America. And I think it's a very complicated region because, of course, there's also kind of a war going on between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is really America's closest ally in the Middle East, and they're trying to limit.
Apparently bombing tankers in the Gulf. I mean, this is serious stuff.
I mean, I did look at the market at the oil price, and the oil price hasn't gone up. So I think the market is also withholding judgment on whether there's a real conflict. Yes.
But the thing is, James, it's very unlike anything we've probably seen since Andrew Jackson, for all I know. This is incredible stuff. But Barack Obama being predictable and sober didn't stop America losing enormous influence in the Middle East and elsewhere. And Donald Trump being dangerously unpredictable, that captures people's attention and makes them scared. Maybe it's effective.
I guess that's true, Andrew. And I think the other thing also to remember is that Donald Trump was elected on a platform of, in a sense, withdrawing America from the world. I mean, that's putting it in slightly too crude terms, but America was war-weary, particularly after Iraq and Afghanistan, and for good reason. He's not enthusiastic about entering into new conflicts. But I think it actually is in the free world's interest to have a strong and robust America engaged in the world and willing to confront regimes like this when necessary. So
I'll tell you what, he has Iran's attention for sure. The Israel Folau case. Now, I don't like Folau's opinions on gays, and I'm guessing I'm not alone on that. But I admire his courage to refusing to buckle to the mob. But I do want to draw a contrast here, which may be unfair, and you'll pull me up on this. The Lord Mayor of Sydney, Clover Moore, she's had her council vote to declare a climate emergency, a global warming catastrophe, you know. This is from the document. Successive federal governments have shamefully presided over climate disaster. Where's that disaster? And now we are at a critical juncture. We face a climate emergency. Now, that's clearly way over the top. And a Liberal councillor, Craig Chung, called it hysterical, unreasonable, and then he voted for it. Here is part of his excuse talking to Chris Kenny today.
The reality is, Chris, that I'm a Liberal councillor here in the city of Sydney. The majority of those seats are taken up by the Clover climate fundamentalists. And if I want to sit at the table, if I want to be there taking part in the policy debate, I've got to get a seat at the table. The moment that you don't get involved in their motions and the moment that you cut yourself out, you get called all sorts of names. Last night I was called a flat earther.
Oh, called names. Diddums, welcome to my world. Am I being unfair?
Andrew, I'm going to let you in on a deep, dark secret of politics, which is that sometimes, occasionally, expediency occurs and we vote for things that we might not really want to. However, far be it to give me advice to another Liberal publicly, but generally you don't go to town on the thing that you have to vote for ultimately. That's generally not the way you go about it. So if you're going to have to take your medicine, my advice is to do it a bit more quietly than that.
I've got 10 seconds. What do you think?
I think that, well, I mean, look, we're really, if it's in context of Israel Folau, we're looking at, you know, there's a wide range of views in our society. We should be tolerant, but tolerance shouldn't extend to tolerating the intolerant.
Well, I don't think it should also extend to, you know, destroying someone's job just for what he says the Bible says.
And I think that there's a real context of different people, different rights at play here. Maybe, but I think the public is speaking on this one very clearly. Kimberley Kitching and James Paterson, thank you both so much for your time. More after the break.